Good evening, viewers. Welcome to my channel, Second Math Hub, the solution to your math problems. We are still solving past questions on core maths, WASSCE 2024. Theory question 7a. I read, the time a man takes to paint a room alone. So a room alone here is just one room. It's an hour less than the time his apprentice takes to paint the same room. So let's quickly represent the time used by the apprentice as well as the time used by the man. So the time used by the apprentice. So we are representing the time used by the apprentice as t. So what should be the time used by the man? Since it takes the man an hour less to paint the room, the time used by the man will be t minus 1, where 1 here represents an hour less. So we have to subtract 1 hour from the apprentice time. Now the next thing is that we need to find their individual rates, the rate at which they are able to paint the room. So with this particular question, what will be the rate? So the rate will be given by the formula, number of rooms that is painted by each individual divided by each individual's time. So with this formula, let's find the rate of the apprentice. So we know that the rate of the apprentice will be the number of rooms. So here the apprentice is able to paint one room divided by the time used by the apprentice. So what is the time used by the apprentice? So that is t. Can we also find the rate of the man? Yes, we can do that. So the rate of the man will be the number of rooms here, one room divided by the time used by the man, which is t minus 1. Now the next thing is that we need to find their total rate. So their total rate here will be the rate of the apprentice plus the rate of the man. So the total rate, so their total rate will be the sum of their individual rates. So the rate of the apprentice 1 over t plus the rate of the man 1 over t minus 1. So that is their total rate. Now with this one, can we also find a formula for finding the total rate? Yes, we can also create a formula for finding their total rate. So how do we do that? So we need to revisit the question. Now let's look at something. If both of them take 72 minutes, so they take 72 minutes, so their total time, let me write it here, their total time is 72 minutes, but the time must have the same unit. See, in the first part of the question, you represented the time as an hour, or we are giving the time in terms of hours. So we also need to change the 72 minutes to hours. So how do we do that? We know that every 60 minutes is equivalent to 1 hour. But this time we have 72 minutes. So if more or less divide, so 72 minutes divided by 60 minutes times 1 hour. So we can simplify this using the calculator. 72 divided by 60. So that is 6 out of 5 hours. So their total time in terms of hours is 6 out of 5 hours. So now, how do we create a formula for their total rate? So we know that their total rate here will be the number of rooms divided by their total time. So with this formula, we can set up our equation. Now we know their total rate here as 1 out of t plus 1 out of t minus 1, and this should be equal to the number of rooms here. The number of rooms here is 1 divided by their total time. Now we are using their time in terms of hours. That is 6 out of 5. 6 out of 5. But you can still simplify 1 divided by 6 out of 5. So when you simplify 1 divided by 6 out of 5, that will give us 5 out of 6. So you can verify this using the calculator. So on your calculator, just enter 1 divided by 6 out of 5, and this will give you 5 out of 6. Now what are we looking for? We are looking for the time. We are looking for the time the apprentice takes to paint the room alone. So we are looking for t, the apprentice time, t. So how do we do that? We need to solve this equation. Now how do we solve this equation? First of all, we need to eliminate the fraction. So how do we eliminate the fraction? By multiplying each term by the LCM. So we have 3 terms here, 1, 2, 3. So we're going to multiply each term by the LCM. So what will be the LCM? So the LCM here will be t minus 1 and then 6. So we need to multiply the 3 denominators here. So this is the LCM. So now we can choose to simplify the first term. You have to multiply the first term by the LCM. So we have the first term here. So to multiply the first term by the LCM, what will happen? See that t will cancel out. The t will cancel out, leaving t minus 1 multiplied by 6. And then what is okay, so we can expand. T times 6, 6t, and then minus 1 times 6. Have minus 6. So for the first term, you are going to have 6t minus 6. That is for the first term. Now the second term, you can also simplify the second term. How do we do that? By multiplying the second term by the LCM. So there is the LCM, don't forget. And what is the second term? The second term here is 1 out of t minus 1. So when you multiply the second term by the LCM, you can see that t minus 1 and t minus 1 will cancel out, leaving t multiplying 6 multiplying 1. And then t times 6, that is 6t multiplied by 1. So we are going to have 6t. 6t for the second term. And this should be equal to, now finally, the last term. You also need to multiply the last term by the LCM, and the last term here is 5 out of 6. So we see that 6 will also cancel out, leaving t multiplying t minus 1, multiplying the numerator, which is 5. So let's simplify. So t times t, that should give us t squared, and then t times negative 1 minus t, and then everything multiplied by 5. So when you expand, we are going to have 5t squared minus 5t for the last term. 5t squared minus 5t. So let's simplify again. Let's simplify. Okay, so we can eliminate the bracket here. Can eliminate the brackets and then simplify. So 6t plus 6t, we have 12t minus 6, and this should be equal to 5t squared minus 5t. Think we are getting a quadratic equation. So let's group all the terms to the right. So we have 0 is equal to 5t squared minus 5t. We transpose positive 12t to the right, it also becomes minus 12t. Then we transpose negative 6 to the right, it becomes plus 6. You can still simplify. We have 5t squared, then minus 5t minus 12t, minus 17t plus 6. So finally we have 5t squared minus 17t plus 6 is equal to 0. So let's solve this quadratic equation. Now, how do you solve this? Let's multiply the coefficient of t squared by the constant. So 5 multiplied by 6, that is 30. So we want factors of 30 such that when we multiply them, it should give us positive 30, but when we sum them up, it should give us negative 17. So what will be the factors? I think that should be negative 15 and then negative 2. So this will be the factors: negative 15 and then negative 2. So we have 5t squared minus 15t minus 2t plus 6 is equal to 0. So we can group them. So what is the common factor here for the first bracket? So the common factor here is 5t. So you can factorize 5t out, leaving t minus 3. And then for the second bracket, we can still factorize 2 out, leaving t minus 3 is equal to 0. T minus 3 is equal to 0. So now, let me get a space here. So we have common term here is t minus 3, t minus 3. So we are going to write one of them. Then the outside factors, 5t minus 2 is equal to 0. So we are going to pick each of the factors and equate to 0. So 5 minus 3 is equal to 0. T is equal to 3. And then the second factor, 5t minus 2 is equal to 0. So 5t is equal to 2. You can divide both sides by 5. So we end up getting t is equal to 2 on 5. T is equal to 2 on 5. So we have 2 times 4. We have 2 times here. So the first one is 3 hours, and the second time is 2 on 5 hours. So which of them should be the right answer? So since the man took 1 hour less than his apprentice, the time here should be 3 hours. Therefore, we can conclude that the time is, or the apprentice time, is 3 hours. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks for watching.